Welcome to part 4 here of Google Forms for conferencing with students. At this point, we're assuming you've been collecting data and want to do something with that data. For the purposes of this session, if you go to the spreadsheet tips slide, I've linked up a sample spreadsheet that you can open and do file, make a copy, make your own copy. I'm going to teach you some tricks on how to organize that data in your spreadsheet. So I'm going to go through these actions to try live right here in the video if you need to see these. So here is my spreadsheet. And when all the data comes into the spreadsheet, it's a little messy. You can see that some of the data bleeds over into other cells. If I take a look at, column H over here, this data is actually bleeding over into I and J. That has to do with word wrapping. So the first thing I want to show you is how to fix that, because anytime you come in, the default is that it will not be word wrapped. Whenever I come into a spreadsheet like this, first thing I do is I click the select all cell right here. The select all cell is just above the 1 and to the left of the A. It's just the everything cell, so everything is selected. Here are the word wrap buttons. So the word wrap buttons, there are now 3 of them. This one means overflow, so you can see the text is overflowing right here. This one means word wrap, so if I do that, it's actually going to make all of the text fit into the cell. The third one has to do with, if I click it, has to do with constraining the text into the cells. So if I resize, see what I did there was I resized the cells while selected all, so that was changing a lot in my spreadsheet there. With constraining, this last one, this just means that the text fits in, but it does not word wrap. So there's actually more text here, but I don't see it because it's not word wrapped. So I come in, I do select all, and I click word wrap, the center choice, so that everything is word wrapped. Now, when I do that, notice if I have a lot of text, that it makes me only be able to see 2 or 3 things at a time in terms of these rows of submissions. To fix that, what I typically do is I adjust the columns that I know have more text in them. So I'm going to adjust that one. And I'm going to adjust this one. Notice I'm clicking on the column header, and then I'm grabbing the right side and clicking and dragging, and that makes the column header bigger or smaller. So in this case, class hour, the only choices that are ever going to be in there are very tiny. So I'm going to make that a very narrow column versus one that has a lot of text. I'm going to make it a little bit wider like this. Now this, I know it's going to be class hour. That's actually taking up all this space. I can click on that one and choose not to word wrap that one. So now it moves everything else up. So that's how word wrap can help you to be able to read this information better. So that was word wrapping. As you scroll through, notice that the first row is your headers. But when I scroll, those scroll up off the page. Another trick to know in spreadsheets is how to lock those in. That's called freezing a row. To do that, you go to View, and you go to Freeze Rows. And I'm going to choose to freeze one row. So it's going to do whatever the row is at the top of my spreadsheet. So now when I scroll, all of those headers stay there. So row 1 stays frozen in place while I scroll. Oops, wrong slide there. So that is how to freeze a row. The sorting versus the data, or sorting versus filtering. So here's the difference between sorting and filtering. I'm going to show filtering first. The filtering button is this martini looking glass over here. Filter. Almost think of it, it's really more like an oil, if you were to put oil into a car like a funnel, it's helping you filter or funnel down information to what you want to see. So I'm going to click on the little funnel so that it's filled in. And what that does is in row 1, it turns on these little drop-down menus. So now what I can do is, let's say I want to sort by my students' names. When I come to that filter and click on it, I can choose sort A to Z. So alphabetically, no matter what class they're in, alphabetically now my students are sorted by their name. Maybe I want to sort by class hour instead. If I click on the filter for that and I sort A to Z, that's going to put all my first hours first, followed by my second hours, then my third hours, my fourth hours. If you only want to see a particular class, you can use this filter button. I was just doing the sorts there to kind of organize the information alphabetically. If I want to only see a certain class, let's say I only want to see second hour, I can clear everything that's checked. I just hit clear there. Notice those checks are all gone. Now, whatever I check is what I'll see. So I'm going to just choose second hour, hit OK. And so far, I only have 3 entries for second hour. The other data is not erased. It's not gone. While this filter is on, and you can see that icon for that column means that's what I'm currently filtered by class hour. When I turn the filter off, everything comes back. So filtering is a way to kind of quickly hide or quickly show only what you want to see. When I click the filter to turn it off, notice it's pressed in right now. That means it's on and it's full, which also means it's on. If I click it to turn it off, now all my data is back. So this is how you can keep a large amount of data in the spreadsheet, but you can use the filters to only narrow it down to what you want to see. Now the difference between that and the next thing I'm going to show you is, let's say you want to sort by more than one item. Let's say I want to sort here. Let me do a quick. I'm going to just sort here by column A just to show. So right now I'm sort by timestamp, meaning that all of the submissions, these are all organized by the way the submissions came in. Let's say I want to sort by my class hour and then sort by student. I'm going to select all, and instead of using my filters, I'm going to go to data, and I'm going to choose sort range. Sort range means it's going to sort whatever I've selected. In this case, I've selected the entire spreadsheet. So now when I get in here, this lets me sort by one thing, and then here it says add another sort column. So and this checkbox is also helpful. Data has a header row. So when I click that, because I have a header row, it fills in timestamp, class hour, student, standards, so on and so forth. So now I'm going to choose, I want to sort by class hour first, A to Z. Click this, then by student, A to Z, and I'm going to hit sort. So now all my data is sorted by first hour, so all my first hours are grouped together, all my second hours are grouped together, all my third hours and my fourth hours are all grouped together. Super handy in the event that, let's say you want to sort by class hour and then by, let's try next steps. Let's see if we get lucky on this with the data I've put in. So I want to sort by class hour, then by next steps. Now I can look at this. So here's first hour. And do I have any students that are kind of taking some next steps together? Yes, these two. Looks like here. Their next steps are to paraphrase their notes and gather some more relevant information. So I might look at this and pull those two students together, do a mini lesson with them while my other students are working. So you can, depending on how you set up your form and depending on the questions you ask, use that sort feature to kind of group things together, and then you can make decisions based on how to pull students together for mini lessons, or if they need to review something, or whatever the next things you might be working on. So super handy for sorting or filtering based on that. Oops. Hiding a column. Let's say I don't need to see my timestamp. I don't care when that's just taking up space for me. If you click on a column and you click all the way at the top, there is a menu in the column header, which is A, and this gives me the choice to hide the column so that it tucks it away. Notice there is a little arrow there. It's hard to see, but this little arrow, if I need to bring column A back, I can, unhide it so that it does show again. So I use that to my advantage too. If I don't need to see the timestamp or I don't care, it's there if I need it. I can go reopen it when I need it. So those are some ways to kind of use the data in your spreadsheet to kind of make some decisions on where you next want to take your instruction. Some other things in the slide presentation, if you're ready to go to a next level, there are some things I linked up. If you want to automate some things in your spreadsheet to happen, there's a tool you can add called roll call. And what that does is you could set it up so if you're bringing in all your class hour information, maybe you want a tab for first hour, second hour, third hour, fourth hour, you can have it so anytime a new submission comes in for first hour, it goes to the first hour tab, or second hour, it goes to the second hour tab. Super handy for sorting that information. Some others, Formule and Autocrat, that gets into if you have put in your students' email addresses in your form, you can set up some automated things to email to them when you submit your form. So if you want them to have a copy of your conference, these get into how to do that. These are very detailed. If you're new to forms, I would recommend not touching these yet. Just get used to collecting data for you. And then if you want to learn that later, you can ask a tech coach and we can help you set that up. So that's it for spreadsheets and for collecting data, and hope this was helpful to have these videos to refer to. Thanks so much for watching.